Non-Stop Rock Talk with Tyson Bryden. Welcome to Non-Stop Rock Talk. This is your host, Tyson Bryden. Today we are welcomed by solo artist and former Quiet Riot singer, James Durbin. James, welcome. How's it going?
Going great. It is going.
Awesome.
Hallelujah.
Awesome. I will say this, and I don't plan on talking much about Quiet Riot, but I did get to see you with the band at the 2019 M3 Festival.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, you were
One of my
amazing.
favorite shows I've ever played in my entire life.
That was awesome. I seem to recall while you guys were on, it was pouring rain.
Ooh, was it? I don't remember.
I think it was. I was kind of seeking shelter, kind of in the back, but I could hear you guys and I could see you on the screens. And anyways, I thought you did the songs really, really well, and it was a great show.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that was a hell of a show and hell of an audience. And I'd always heard of M3, and I'd always wanted to play it. So it was very nice to finally get in front of that crowd. And you know, that was kind of like my mission statement during my time with Quiet Riot, was to really bring back that, as much of that Kevin DuBrow energy to the band that had been missing all those years. And it's one thing to find somebody that sounds like him, but it's another thing to find somebody that, you know, tries to bring their own thing to the band, as well as respect what, you know, he made. And he made Quiet Riot what it was. So, you know, to be up there and singing his songs and going through the motions, it wasn't enough. You had to really bring the power, bring the energy. If it required some knee slides, some back bends, some throwing your mic stand and catching it in your teeth, you know, a couple trips to the dentist, you know, it's all for the sake of rock and roll, you know.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That was so good. I did get to see Kevin with Quiet Riot.
Really? Where at?
Yeah. Frankie, I think it was that same lineup with Kevin. Actually, I saw them twice.
With Chuck and Alex, yeah, they did. Yeah, that was the lineup for a long time.
Yeah, it was the Rock Never Stops tour.
Of course,
Cinderella. What's up?
Of course, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Rat, Cinderella, Firehouse, and Quiet Riot. Yeah, that was what it was. It was awesome. They were great that night too.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your latest release, entitled "The Beast Awakens." Right from the opening track, "The Prince of Metal," it becomes apparent that you mean business. Now let's first talk about the album title itself. There must be a meaning behind it, but of course this is the 5th track on the album. But there still must be something behind that title.
There is. Well, originally when I had found the title, it was a sub-headline on an article about a Japanese professional wrestler by the name of Jushin Thunder Liger, who was retiring. And I was doing some research for a podcast I was doing, and I found this article, and it was talking about underneath his mask, who his character was underneath his mask. It wasn't just the man under the mask, it was the monster under the mask, and the mask was containing the monster inside of it. And I thought to myself, okay, I've been playing for QR for the last couple of years, and, you know, the mascot is the masked man, the man in the metal mask. And, you know, now here I am removing my mask. So what does the monster beneath my mask look like? What does it sound like? And fortunately, I had come up with the riff as a voice memo a few days earlier, that and I recorded that like that on my phone. And then I went and took that to my guitar and I transposed it. And luckily it was in the right key that I was in. And every little piece started to fall into place perfectly for that song. And I wrote it in just an afternoon. As soon as I was finished writing it and demoing it, I sent it to Rob Halford to hear what he thought. And he said, "You're on the right track, so keep it up." And then, yeah, that's just, you know, I kept going from there.
That's awesome. Now, this release, as I understand, is the title. The album is Durbin. Now, is this still a solo project, or is Durbin a band effort, kind of like Doc and Keel or Bon Jovi or something like that?
I'm not sure. You know, it's definitely not a James Durbin album. And
Yeah.
the music that will follow under the Durbin moniker, it will not be James Durbin music. So, I mean, this is like my focus for now, and it's a rebranding of sorts. It's also I don't want to wear a T-shirt that says James Durbin on it. I want to wear a shirt that says Durbin on it with like a dragon and like a shield or like a crow monster or something. It's much cooler to wear a band shirt rather than just like a dude shirt. I'm not going to walk around wearing a Keith Urban shirt. But if I've got like a, just like a one name kind of a shirt too, like that's, fuck yeah, it's killer,
That's awesome.
I mean, in that sense also, but like in a sense of I do want a band and I want more camaraderie of sorts, but it's more from like a Dio standpoint.
Yeah.
Dio, Ronnie is Dio. So where some would argue that, okay, well, Vinny Appice and Vivian Campbell and like that's Dio. Well, no, Dio is the guy. Dio is a band, but Dio is also the guy. So Durbin is a band, but it's also just the guy,
The guy. Oh, that's cool, man. And I forgot to mention Dio. Sorry about that. I should have mentioned Dio in those names as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. No, that's awesome. And you know what's funny? I interviewed Joel Hoekstra last night.
Yeah, how was that?
And it was great, man.
His
He's
new
an
record
awesome guy.
is killer.
It's amazing.
It's incredible.
I really like it. But there was a track on it, and as soon as I heard it, it sounded like Dio. It was Vinny Appice playing it, and it sounded like this drum section that he would have done when he had played with Dio.
Wow,
and I was like, I didn't even notice it at first, and I was like, that's total Vinny Appice, which was really cool. So
yeah,
killer album. Okay, so in comparison to the two albums recorded with Quiet Riot, this is much heavier than either of those two releases. With being solo again, I guess Durbin is, I know it's solo, but it's a band kind of thing. And I mean, no disrespect to Frankie and Quiet Riot, but I think within the confines of an established band, there is possibly less freedom musically because the fans' perception of what they want to hear. Would you say you had more full musical freedom on this album, and Frontiers kind of allowed you to make the album the way you wanted it to be?
Absolutely. I mean, Quiet Riot, with all due respect, it was Frankie's band.
Yeah.
It's Frankie's band, and with that, he and his music writing partner Neil Citron, they wrote all the songs, and so with those records, I got given those songs, so I had no say in music. In could we put a lift here? Could we change to something else for the bridge? It was all set in stone. So it's just kind of like writing, like a paint by numbers writing sort of thing. And that's very difficult to write to, especially if you're not inspired by it, unfortunately. So with this album, it's like those years of wanting to, I really, really thought like getting in there and making these Quiet Riot records, like, wow, this is going to be cool. I'm making Quiet Riot records. We're going to make like this awesome 80s party metal. Like, hell yeah. And then the music I got given was like, oh no, this isn't that. Okay, I'll write, something else. I'll write more of like a Humble Pie sort of thing. I know Kevin was like a big Steve Marriott fan. That was like his number one singer, and so like, yeah, I can go more in that realm with it, which was fun, which I loved, was, for all intents and purposes, it was. But with this, this is like me. I get to do what I want to do, After I left, Frontiers was the first email in my inbox, and I responded like, all right, here's a label, Cool. What kind of album do you want me to make, And they said, what kind of album do you want to make? I was like, ooh, really? Okay, yeah, well, I want to make classic metal. And they were like, we want you to make classic metal. Awesome. Sign here, basically. So I'm very blessed that I'm with Frontiers. They're, a label that believes in music still. They believe in the album. They believe in the album. They believe in metal and rock, and the power of it, and encouraging that. They were very encouraging when I was writing the album and telling me what was working and what wasn't. And fortunately, like, it was like 85% working and like 15% like scrap it or change it, and it worked.
That's good.
So I didn't have an excess of songs to choose to choose from and be like, oh, well, it's like what I wrote specifically and tailored it to the album.
That's cool. I mean, you mentioned Kevin and Steve being a Steve Marriott fan. I seem to recall he did a cover of on Terrified of Ichiku Park, which I always thought was amazing. He did a great version of that song.
Yeah, incredible. It's really funny. I've had connections to Steve through my mentor Dale Ackerman out here in Santa Cruz, California, and Dale was good friends with Steve toward the later part of his life. And actually, what's just blows my mind fascinating is last month I found my dad was a bass player. He was a session bass player. And I found an album randomly, just a private release of a group called The People. And the album is called Atlantis 2022 or something AD, 2000 AD, something like that. And the main single off the album is called Here and Now, and it features Steve Marriott on lead vocals. And come to find, I found and tracked down an album, a copy of it, and got it. And I open up the gatefold and I see that my dad played bass on the song that Steve Marriott sings on.
Wow.
To make matters crazier, my mentor Dale was writing songs with Steve and had an unfinished song that they wrote, and he finished writing it. And so the credit is Dale Ackerman and Steve Marriott, and I got to sing it. So that's another great thing of really also being inspired by Steve, and what an incredible powerhouse vocalist he was, and a killer guitar player too, but just with just oozing and seeping soul.
Yeah.
And just living such a fruitful music career and doing so many different things. Maybe he never hit the real big one, but everything from the Small Faces to Humble Pie to just his own Steve Marriott stuff is it's exceptional. It's really great.
Yeah, I think the people that admire him and know him really think he's, he's, I don't even know how to put it, he's very respected. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
I had a copy of Smokin', Humble Pie Smokin'.
Yeah.
I never opened it. Someone gave it to me about 20 years ago. I never opened it. It got stolen last year.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I was like, oh, really? And probably won't be able to replace it. I had a bunch of others, a bunch of vinyl stolen, 200 of them.
Oh, God.
That was in there, so. Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah, it sucked, so.
Assholes.
Yes, exactly. So I understand that wrestler and singer Chris Jericho made a special guest appearance on the album. He appears on the track Kings Before You.
Yes, sir.
And I understand you're an avid wrestling fan.
Correct.
That's cool. How was it that you were able to get Chris to sing on this track?
Chris and I became friends when I was on American Idol. He was on Dancing with the Stars at the same time, and they filmed in the same building, basically separated by a hallway. And the night before, Hulk Hogan had come out and surprised me, and where I almost died when he came out. But he came out and surprised me and told me I was going on tour and on to the next round and everything. So Jericho crossed that invisible line. No one's supposed to cross between the two shows because they were on different networks too.
Oh.
But so Jericho crossed the line and came over and said, "What's up, Durbin?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, here's my actual favorite wrestler of childhood and all time, walking through the door. Here he is. And now he wants to be my friend." So it was like, okay, don't be a mark, be chill, be cool. Don't be a spaz. And we became close friends. He started sneaking me out from American Idol's lockdown rule. And we'd go and we went to the Hollywood Bowl and saw Stevie Nicks and Rod Stewart. And then we got mobbed. I got mobbed, and he was my bodyguard. People grabbed my shirt, ripping it. We had some great times going out and then going to the Rainbow Bar and Grill down, on Sunset, and just sneaking off to different concerts and things. It was just such a blessing getting to hang out with him. And so it came time for me doing this album, and had always had the idea of wanting to get him on something and sing together because I think our voices could mesh well. And so I texted him and was like, "Hey, if hypothetically, if you were to sing on a concept album of sorts, what kind of character would you want to play?" And he said, well, either the villain or a wizard. And I was like, all right, you're going to be a wizard on my song. I wrote this song like,
so cool.
This prince, he's sitting, he's getting stoned on top of the mountain. And then he has this vision. Is it a vision? Is it real? Is it, synthetic or whatever? He has this vision of this wizard coming down on the dark side of a rainbow. When I wrote the song, I wrote it as like, this is Dio. Dio is on the rainbow. And he's coming down to speak to the prince and saying like, you are the defender of the land, from the hills to the horizon, from the holy to the desperate and the damned. You are the kings before you that reigned before. You became the heir to the throne. And like the kings before you, I can assure you will never stand alone. So I sent him the song and he dug it. And, it was the rest is history, as they say.
That's cool. I love your enthusiasm, man. That is awesome. What I find interesting about this album is it's termed in the bio of the release. If you love the sound of Judas Priest, think British Steel, the Defenders of the Faith era, early Dio, 80s Black Sabbath, and classic U.S. heavy metal. Being born in 1989, which you were, how was it? Not me, you.
Yeah.
How was it that you became so into this style of music? Most of these bands were around long before you were even born. So personally, I think that, for me, that's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. I got into it around high school. I got into it in like the 2000s. And I just fell in love with it. At the time that my voice was going lower, I taught it to go higher. And I fell in love with this music and the guys that sang it. And I'd put on their records on loudspeakers at the computer and YouTube videos, and I'd try and match what they were doing. Like, I had already been singing for like 10 years. So like, I've been singing since I was 7 or 8. And so, then like translating that to figuring out, okay, taking like, choir or theater singing, which is much different, which is more falsetto and more theatrical, but finding theatrical metal acts, finding the Queensryches and the Iron Maidens and Dio. And if Dio is not theatrical metal, I do not know what is. Look at 84, look at Sacred Heart, look at like the orb coming down with his face on it. And, you are in possession of the Sacred Heart. Down, 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 now, explosions, and there's a dragon, and Dio's got a freaking lightsaber, and like, it's like, what are they wearing? They're up there dressed like Jethro Tull. This is 84. Come on, it's the future, man. But like, I just love that. I love that theatricality and just standing on there and screaming at the top of your lungs. And, there's just, that's so cool to me. That just looks so cool. But like, on the other hand too, like, what looks cool to me is just somebody mastering their craft.
Yeah.
Like I can watch Gene Kelly, stand and perform a tap dance routine in like waist high slacks, and like some little polo shirt and like do this thing. But then you see him get into his zone, and he zones into it and he gets so deep into it that you are like, this is a complete and utter master of their craft. I don't know, in possession of their skill. In possession of everything that they've worked for and everything that they've trained for. And here they are just mastering it in the moment. And then seeing Dio on stage do that. Or, it's like seeing Freddie Mercury, at Live Aid or something. Or like, any of that stuff. Or Rob Halford just up there like, like the US Festival doing like Victim of Changes or something.
Which is amazing.
It's like, Whiskey Woman! Just all that stuff. It's just like, oh my gosh, this is killer, Where can I find that?
I mean, yeah, it hits you. It kind of hits you like right here, right? I mean, I feel the same way about it. I hear something like that, and it's like, wow. I mean, when I listen to Heaven and Hell by Sabbath, that song, I listened to it today in my car. I just had it pinned. I'm like, oh man, there's just something about this song. You're just like, this is so awesome, right?
Especially when it picks up, when that little shuffle.
Yeah.
They say that life's a carousel, spinning fast, you gotta ride it well. The world is full of kings and queens who blind your eyes and steal your dreams. They say that black is really white, the moon is just the sun at night, and when you walk in golden halls, you get to keep the gold that falls. It's heaven and hell.
That's
like,
so...
just those lyrics, it just... that kind of stuff inspired me to write this album. Just painting a visual picture like that is metal and fantasy. It's Tolkien, and it's Sabbath. It resides in both. It resides in fantasy and in fact.
Yeah, I have the reissues of Sacred Heart and Lock Up the Wolves, and
yeah,
the vinyls are amazing because Sacred Heart's like a clear vinyl, but the one and it looks great. But Lock Up the Wolves is like this marbled like blue. It's amazing and it sounds great.
I just got into Lock Up the Wolves. There's some gems on there. It's not as Dio as some of the other albums.
No, it's not.
Not as much energy.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a last little ditch of energy with the rock and roll children.
Oh, that's a great song. And We Rock, and oh man, there's so many. I mean, there's so many great Dio songs, right? Wild One, which is that was the lead off video off Lock Up the Wolves. That's a killer song, great guitar riff. I was just speaking to Rowan Robertson about coming on my show, so hopefully next month I'll get to talk to him. So that's cool.
That's killer.
Now, I know we're kind of close on time, so
yes.
Now you also played guitar on this album. You did all the acoustic and electric rhythm guitars. That's awesome, man. In terms of guitar playing, how did you kind of approach it? Some of that stuff's really heavy, man.
Yeah, I mean, it all stemmed from those. The majority of the riffs stemmed from voice memos. Literally just driving around, and maybe I'd have been listening to something earlier or something that you get caught on. There'll be like a little bit of a melody of a different song, and you'll hear them use it once and never go back to it. You could be like, but that's an entire song. There's an entire song right there. So it's finding stuff like that, or just being inspired by something. Tripping on a vibe. And seeing what you can find.
Well, I really wish you the best of luck with this album. I hope people
Thank you.
Get to listen to it and it gets out there and people get to hear it, because I mean, I think they're going to be surprised. I was kind of surprised. I heard it and I was like, wow, this is, because I had heard those Quiet Riot albums and I was like, oh, okay, it's Quiet Riot. But when I heard this, I was like, this is cool. So
thank you so much. I really made it a point to figure out, what do I want to sound like?
Yeah.
What do I want this to be? If people are hearing me for the first time out on my own, or people are hearing me for the first time in a long time, or even the people that have been with me since day one, of giving them that thing that they've been waiting for.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that have been, with me since Idol. Yeah. Have been like, okay, yeah, we love the Mick Mars, we love the Hardcore Superstar and the heavier stuff, but it's been 9 years. Where the hell did it go? Where is it? We thought we were going to get it on those QR albums, and we got it live, but we never got it on. I had a blast writing this album, and I put a lot of love and a lot of good feelings and a lot of positivity into it, and I hope people enjoy it.
Well, I wish you the best.
If people enjoy it, I'm going to make another.
Oh, that's awesome.
Enjoy it, that'll make another. So it's, you're nothing without your fans and the people that support your music and support your career. And I owe it all to my fans, and I owe it all to my support, my wife, my kids, and family, and fans, and everything. So it's as long as I can keep, making up for it on both sides, and being able to continue to give it the best effort I can, I'm going to continue to do it.
Fantastic. I'm going to tell all my metal buddies to listen to this.
Awesome.
I'm going to be like, you guys are going to love this. So that's cool.
I appreciate it.
All right, man. Well, enjoy the rest of your night. And
awesome. Thank you, Tyson.
Thanks so much, James. Have a good night.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll
Peace
see you
out,
soon.
man.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.